Jack had grown up in the Australian outback in one of the dust reclamation zones. His skin was permanently tanned from years under the harsh sun, and he moved with the quiet efficiency of someone used to conserving energy. Good, Tom said, looking over the list. Engineering team all set. Chief. Engineer Maria has them running final checks now. Maria was born in the reclaimed deserts of North Africa. She understood how to keep machines running in environments that wanted to destroy them. Her team had been chosen from similar backgrounds. The Siberian Recovery Zone, the Amazon flood basins, the volcanic islands of the Pacific. Tom's security chief, Marcus, joined them. He was a large man with pale skin and ice-blue eyes, born in one of the Arctic settlements. Weapon systems are online, Captain, all green. The Earth that Tom and his crew knew was classified as a Class 4 death world by galactic standards. Most alien species would die within hours of setting foot on its surface without protection. Humanity had evolved on a planet that constantly tried to kill them with weather, predators, diseases, and natural disasters. It had made them tough, adaptable, and resourceful. What better crew to meet another species born from the same kind of forge? The Council is sending a ship with medical supplies and environmental engineers, Tom told his officers as they gathered on the bridge. For pre-launch. They'll arrive in 2 weeks. Our job is to assess the situation before they get there. On cue. The main view screen, the Nemesis hung in space against the blue curve of Earth. It was 300 m long with a dark hole that seemed to swallow light. Its lines were smooth and predatory like a shark. Our official mission is first contact and preliminary aid, Tom continued. The Vex have requested help dealing with environmental disasters on their world. Jack raised an eyebrow. And our real mission, sir? Tom touched A control and the view screen changed to show a classified mission brief. Intelligence believes the crawler interested in this new species. We need to find out why. The brief contained a final line marked in red. Assess military potential and determine strategic value of Vex technology priority. Prevent crawl acquisition by any means necessary. The Nemesis is faster than any crawl ship, Tom said. We'll reach the Vex home world 4 days before any crawl response can arrive. That gives us time to evaluate the situation. And if the crawler already there, Marcus asked. Tom's expression hardened. Then we find out what they're up to and stop it. An hour later, the Nemesis broke orbit and headed for the jump point that would take it beyond Council space. Tom stood on the bridge, watching as Earth shrank behind them. His planet looked peaceful from space, its dangers hidden beneath clouds and blue oceans. He wondered what the Vex world would look like. What kind of people would evolve on a planet even harsher than Earth? And what did the crawl want with them? As the Nemesis reached the jump point, Tom gave the order. Take us through. The stars stretched and swirled as the jump drive activated. The ship passed through the folded space, emerging in the darkness. Between stars. Ahead lay unknown territory and a meeting with a species born on a world that made them survivors. Behind them, Admiral Reed watched on a secure channel as the Nemesis disappeared from Earth sensors. Good luck, Captain, he murmured. They're expecting doctors. Show them what humans can really do. The Galactic Council had promised the UVEX they would send aid. Humanity had sent something more valuable. Strength forged in the same kind of fire. 5 days after leaving Earth, the UES Nemesis dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of crawl space. Captain Tom White stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the main view screen. All systems dark, he ordered. Passive sensors only. The Nemesis was designed to be invisible to most detection systems. Its hull absorbed radar and other scanning waves. Instead of reflecting them, its engines could run silent, releasing no heat or radiation that could be tracked. It was a ghost ship meant to slip through enemy territory unseen. "Scan the system," Tom said. "Let's see what we're dealing with before we announce ourselves." Jack, his second in command, worked at the sensor station. The bridge was quiet except for the soft beeping of computers. The crew moved with calm efficiency, each person knowing their job perfectly. "Captain," Jack called after a few minutes. "You should see this." Tom moved to look over Jack's shoulder at the sensor display. It showed a star system with 9 planets. The 7th planet was marked in red, the Vex home world. Around that planet, a dozen crawl ships moved in a circular pattern. "That's a blockade," Tom said, his voice hard. "They're not letting anything in or out." "Not an invasion fleet," Jack noted. "Just enough ships to isolate the planet." "Why? If they wanted to attack, they have more than enough firepower." Maria's voice came through the ship's communication system. "Captain, I'm picking up energy readings from the planet surface. Multiple sites showing radiation levels consistent with weapons impacts." Tom's face darkened. "They're bombing them." "No, sir," Maria replied. "The pattern is strange. Single impacts at different locations spread over what looks like weeks. Not a full attack. They're testing them," Marcus said from the weapon station. "Hit them with one type of weapon, see how they respond. Then try something else. It's what I'd do if I wanted to learn about an enemy's defenses." Tom considered this information. The Crawl weren't just watching the Vex. They were studying them, probing for weaknesses. "Communications," Tom said to the officer manning that station. "Any transmissions from the surface?" Then the communications specialist adjusted his equipment. "The distress signal is still active, but it's weaker than it should be. Something's interfering with it." Tom made his decision. "Plot a course through the blockade. We need to get to that planet." "Sir," Jack said quietly. "That's a direct violation of Crawl territory." "If they detect us, then we'll deal with it," Tom interrupted. "Our orders are to find out what's happening here and protect the Vex if needed. Right now, it looks like they need protection." The Nemesis moved slowly through space, its stealth systems at maximum power. On the view screen, Tom could see the Crawl ships growing larger. As they approached, they were bulky vessels with sharp angular designs that reminded him of predatory insects. Maintaining silent running, the helmsman reported course set to pass between the 3rd and 4th vessels in their formation. Tom felt sweat on his palms but kept his face calm. If the Crawl detected them now, they would be outnumbered 12-1. "Sir," Maria called from engineering. "I'm getting better readings on the planet now. The cities appear to be underground." "Makes sense," Tom replied. "With surface conditions like that, you'd want to be protected." "There's something else," Maria continued. "I'm detecting a massive impact crater on the northern continent. It's still hot. Whatever hit them wasn't natural." "How recent?" "Within the last 48 hours, based on radiation decay." Tom exchanged looks with Jack. "That matches with what Marcus said. They're being tested." As the Nemesis slipped between 2 Crawl ships, Everyone on the bridge held their breath. The enemy vessels were less than 5 kilometers away on either side. Close enough to see details of their weapon ports and engine exhausts. "We're clear," the helmsman announced. After several tense minutes approaching the planet now. Tom was about to reply, when Ben straightened suddenly at his station. "Captain, I'm receiving a direct transmission from the surface." "Put it through," Tom ordered, surprised. No one should have been able to detect the nemesis, especially not from a planet's surface. A voice crackled through the bridge speakers. It was rough and strange, clearly not human, but the words were in English, probably translated by whoever was sending the message. "Unidentified vessel," the voice said. "Identify yourself. If you are council support, be advised. This was not a natural disaster, as reported. We are under attack. They are testing our defenses." The transmission cut off suddenly. "Can you get them back?" Tom asked. Ben shook his head. "Signal lost. But they knew we were here despite our stealth systems." "Impressive," Jack muttered. "And concerning," Tom added. "If they can detect us, the crawl might be able to as well." He turned to the tactical station. "Any change in crawl ship positions?" "No, sir. They're maintaining their blockade pattern." Tom considered his options. The mission had just become much more complicated. What had seemed like a humanitarian crisis was clearly now a military situation. The Vex were under attack, and the Crawl were systematically testing their defenses. "Why? Take us into orbit," Tom ordered. "Keep our profile as low as possible, but I want continuous scans of the surface. Find me a safe landing zone near that last impact site." As the Nemesis entered orbit around the Vex home world, the crew got their first clear view of the planet. It was a harsh landscape of jagged mountains and deep canyons. Massive storm systems covered entire continents. In the night areas, they could see the glow of volcanic activity. Yet somehow, life had evolved here. Intelligent life that had built a civilization. "It makes Earth look like a paradise," Jack said, staring at the view screen. "And yet they survived," Tom replied. "Just like we did." The sensor display suddenly lit up with warnings. "Captain," Marcus called out. "Crawl ships are breaking formation. 3 vessels moving to intercept." "They've spotted us," Jack said. Tom nodded calmly. "Good. Let them come." He pressed the ship-wide communication button. "All hands, battle stations. Prepare for combat and planetary landing operations." The Nemesis transformed from a silent ghost to a predator. Its weapon systems powering up, shields activating. On the view screen, Tom could see the 3 crawl ships approaching, their own weapons glowing as they prepared to fire. "Sir," Ben called from communications. "I'm receiving another transmission from the surface." "Put it through." The same rough voice came through clearer this time. "Unknown vessel, this is Commander Rock of the Vex Defense Force. We have detected crawl ships moving toward your position. Are you in need of assistance?" Tom couldn't help smiling at the irony. They had come to help the Vex, and now the Vex were offering to help them. "This is Captain Tom White of the United Earth Fleet vessel Nemesis," he responded. "We received your distress call. We're here to help." There was a pause before the Vex commander replied. "Earth, you are not from the Galactic Council." "No, we're here on our own." Another pause. The crawl attack began. After our contact with the Council. They bomb us, then watch how we respond. They are testing us, Captain White. We noticed, Tom replied. We're coming down to your position. Can you provide landing coordinates? Yes, Rock said, but be warned, our atmosphere is highly toxic to most species. The Council representatives required full environmental chambers to survive here. Tom looked at Jack, who was already checking the atmospheric readings. Jack nodded. Our environmental suits should handle it. It's nasty, but not worse than the Jupiter mining colonies. We can handle it, Tom told the Vex commander. We come from a world that's considered harsh by galactic standards. A death world? Rock asked, surprise evident even through the translation. Yes, Earth is classified as a Class 4 death world. There was a long silence before Rock responded. Then perhaps you will understand us better than the Council does. I am sending landing coordinates now. We will prepare for your arrival. As the coordinates came through, the tactical display showed the crawl ships closing fast. They'll be in weapons range in 3 minutes, Marcus reported. Tom made his decision. Change of plans. We're not here for humanitarian aid anymore. We're preventing an extinction event. He turned to his officers. Weapons free. Show the crawl. What happens when they pick on another Death World species? The Nemesis turned to face the approaching crawl ships. Its stealth systems deactivated, weapons ports open. It was no longer hiding. On the bridge, Tom stood with his hands behind his back, watching the enemy approach. Send a message to the crawl ships, he ordered. Tell them that the Vex planet is now under Earth's protection. Any hostile action will be met with immediate force. The Nemesis's message to the crawl was simple and direct, just like the ship itself. It wasn't a diplomatic vessel or a relief ship. It was a warship built by humans who understood that sometimes survival required strength. The Galactic Council had sent observers and promises. Earth had sent something. The Vex actually needed a ship built to fight. The 3 crawl ships stopped their approach when the Nemesis revealed itself. For several tense minutes, both sides waited. Weapons ready. Then, without explanation, the crawl vessels turned and rejoined the blockade. They're backing off, Jack said, surprised. For now, Tom replied. They're reporting back to their command. We haven't seen the last of them. He turned to Benat. Communications. Send a message to Commander Rock. Tell him we're coming down. 20 minutes later, the Nemesis descended through the toxic clouds of the Vex home world. The ship shuddered as acid rain pelted its hull and hurricane-force winds battered it from all sides. Lightning flashed around them, striking the ship several times, but its advanced shields absorbed the energy. Environmental readings are off. The charts, Maria reported from engineering. Atmospheric acid content would melt standard hull materials in hours. Radiation levels from the ground are twice what we'd consider safe on Earth. And people live here, Jack muttered. Not on the surface, Tom said, studying the sensor readings. Look at these tunnel networks. They've built their entire civilization underground. The landing coordinates led them to a massive cavern hidden beneath a mountain range. A huge door big enough for the Nemesis to pass through opened in the mountainside. Inside was a space large enough to dock several ships there. Size. Take us in, Tom ordered. As the Nemesis settled onto the cavern floor. Tom addressed the crew. Suit up. Level 3 environmental protocols. We don't know exactly what's waiting for us, but remember these people evolved on this world. What's deadly to most species is normal for them. Tom, Jack, Maria, and Marcus led the first contact team. Their environmental suits were the best Earth had developed, designed for the toxic clouds of Venus and the methane oceans of Titan. Even so, readings on their helmet displays showed dangerous levels of radiation and corrosive gases in the air. As they walked down the Nemesis's ramp, Tom saw dozens of figures waiting for them. The Vex stood nearly 7 foot tall with bodies protected by natural armor. Plates that looked like a cross between insect shells and reptile scales. Their skin was a dark green-gray color that would blend perfectly with the rocky landscape outside. Each had 4 arms and 2 legs with multiple eyes adapted for seeing in darkness. One Vex stepped forward from the others. Unlike his companions who carried primitive-looking but clearly effective weapons, this one wore elaborate armor with markings that suggested rank or status. "I am Commander Rock," the Vex said. His voice translated by a device at his throat. "Welcome to Vexus, humans of Earth." Tom removed his helmet, a calculated risk based on the air readings inside the cavern, which showed breathable if uncomfortable conditions. "Captain Tom White, United Earth Fleet. This is my second in command, Jack, our chief engineer, Maria, and security chief Marcus." The Vex soldiers murmured among themselves when they saw Tom's face. Rock's multiple eyes widened slightly. "You breathe our air, Rock," said, surprise evident in his voice. The council representatives who visited before required full environmental chambers just to stand where you are now. "We come from a similar world," Tom explained. "Earth is also what the council calls a death world." This revelation changed the atmosphere. Immediately, the Vex lowered their weapons and Rock made a gesture that might have been respect. "Then perhaps you truly understand what we face," Rock said. "Follow me. There is much to show you." Rock led them through tunnels large enough for the tall Vex to walk comfortably. The walls were reinforced with metal beams and lined with pipes and cables. Smaller tunnels branched off in all directions. "Our ancestors moved underground 10,000 years ago," Rock explained as they walked. "The surface was too dangerous for permanent settlements. Down here, we found protection from the storms and radiation." "And you built an entire civilization," Maria said, looking at the complex engineering around them with professional appreciation. "We adapted," Rock replied. "Simply as your kind must have done on Earth." They passed chambers filled with hydroponic gardens where strange plants grew under artificial light. Other rooms contained machinery that hummed with power, purifying air and water for the underground city. "The Crawl have been bombarding our surface for 3 cycles," Rock continued. "Not enough to destroy us, but enough to test our responses. Our defensive capabilities. They drop one bomb, watch how we adapt. Then drop a different one." "Why?" Tom asked. "What do they want from you?" Rock led them into a large chamber that appeared to be a command center. Dozens of Vex worked at control stations, monitoring systems that kept their underground city functioning. On large screens, they could see the surface, where acid rain fell in sheets and lightning split the dark sky. "The council sent a survey ship 6 weeks ago," Rock said. "They took samples, expressed sympathy for our difficult living conditions, and promised aid." His voice carried bitterness. 2 days after they left, the first crawl bombs fell. The council told the crawl about you, Tom said. Understanding. Now. Or the crawl were watching the council, Jack suggested. Either way, they found out about the Vex and moved in. Rock touched a control panel and one of the screens changed to show a map of the planet with 18 points marked in red. Impact sites, Rock explained. Each testing a different weapon. They're methodical. They want to know our vulnerabilities before they launch a full attack. But why? Maria asked. What makes your planet worth this effort? Rock was silent for a moment, then gestured for them to follow again. They walked deeper into the complex, passing through several security checkpoints where armed Vex guards scanned them before allowing them to proceed. Finally, they reached a heavily reinforced door. Rock placed his hand on a scanner and the massive door slid open. Inside was a laboratory. In the center was a twisted chunk of metal. Wreckage with the distinctive angular design of crawl technology. We may be under attack, Rock said. But we are not defenseless. This was a crawl scout ship that ventured too close to our defense perimeter 3 weeks ago. Tom examined the wreckage with interest. The metal was twisted and melted in ways he hadn't seen before. What weapon did this? Marcus asked, professional curiosity evident in his voice. Rock made a sound that might have been pride. Our surface conditions create unique minerals. We've developed weapons that can penetrate crawl shields, but we lack delivery systems that can reach orbit. Tom looked at Maria, who was already scanning the Vex technology with undisguised interest. The Nemesis has orbital strike capabilities, Tom said. And you would use them to help us? Rock asked. Skepticism evident in his voice. Tom nodded. The crawl are our common enemy. But I need to understand what they're after. This isn't just a random attack. Rock hesitated, seeming to make a decision. Then he activated another control panel. A section of the floor opened, revealing a lift platform. Rock gestured for them to step onto it. The platform descended deep into the planet's crust. Tom's suit sensors showed increasing temperature and radiation levels as they went down. After several minutes, they stopped in a vast cavern, much larger than any they had seen before. The entire space glowed with an eerie blue-green light that came from thousands of crystal formations growing from the walls and ceiling. The crystals pulsed with what almost seemed like a heartbeat. We call it living metal, Rock said, his voice reverent. It bonds with organic tissue without rejection. Our bodies incorporate it naturally. He held out one of his forearms, and Tom could see how the Vex's natural armor had the same faint glow as the crystals. The council researchers were very interested when they discovered this, Rock continued. They took samples, asked many questions about how we use it. And the crawl wanted for weapons, Jack said, understanding dawning on his face. Rock's expression darkened. They wanted to become unstoppable. Imagine their ships with hulls that repair themselves. Imagine their soldiers with armor that grows stronger with each attack. Tom understood now. This wasn't just about conquering a planet or subjugating a species. The crawl wanted the living metal to transform their already formidable military into something the galaxy had never seen before. Before he could respond, alarms blared throughout the complex. The crystals around them pulsed faster, as if responding to the danger. A Vex voice came through a communication system, speaking urgently in their language. Rock's posture stiffened. They're starting another bombardment, Rock told the humans. A larger payload this time. Multiple impacts targeting our main defense systems. They're accelerating their timeline, Tom said grimly. They know. We're here. Rock nodded. Our deepest shelters may withstand the attack, but our surface defenses will be crippled. Tom made his decision instantly. All of you back to the Nemesis. We're taking this fight to orbit. As they rushed back toward the ship, Tom activated his communicator. Nemesis, this is the captain. Prepare for immediate launch. All weapon systems online. We're going hunting. Behind them, the living metal crystals pulsed with energy, almost as if they understood the battle that was about to be fought over them. The Crawl had been testing the Vex, probing for weaknesses. Now they would discover what happened when you threaten not one death world species but two working together. The Nemesis rose through the atmosphere of Vexus, its advanced hull absorbing the punishment of the toxic environment. Lightning strikes glanced off its shields and acid rain sizzled against the metal. But the ship was built for harsh conditions just like its crew. In orbit, 3 Crawl destroyers had moved into position for another bombardment run. They were targeting the Vex defense systems, preparing for what would likely be a final attack to the planet's ability to fight back. They don't know what we are yet, Tom observed from the captain's chair as he studied the tactical display. The Crawl ships were maintaining their bombing patterns, ignoring the human vessel as it emerged from the planet's atmosphere. Let's introduce ourselves. The Nemesis dropped its stealth field. Weapon systems powering up in sequence. On the bridge, Marcus stood at the tactical station, his fingers moving across the controls with practiced efficiency. Target their lead vessel. Tom ordered. All batteries fire when ready. The human warship released a barrage of missiles and energy weapons that tore through space toward the unprepared Crawl destroyer. The alien vessel had its shields focused downward toward the planet. It never saw the attack coming from behind. The Nemesis's weapons ripped through the destroyer's engines and power core. The Crawl vessel listed to one side. Secondary explosions rippling along its hull before it went dark. Direct hit. Marcus reported their main power is down. Life support failing. The remaining Crawl ships responded immediately, pivoting to face this new threat. Their weapons charged and emergency signals flashed between them. They're trying to identify us, Ben reported from communications. They're asking if we're council enforcement. Let's not disappoint them, Tom replied. With a grim smile. Broad on all frequencies identity package Omega-3. This was a calculated risk. Protocol Omega-3 was reserved for situations where intimidation was the primary goal. It contained footage from human Crawl conflicts, specifically battles where human ships had prevailed against overwhelming odds. It was designed to remind the Crawl of previous defeats at human hands. The Crawl response was immediate. Both remaining destroyers broke off their attack on the planet and oriented toward the Nemesis. They're powering up main weapons, Marcus reported. Evasive pattern, Delta, Tom ordered. Bring us around for a stern attack on the nearest ship. He turned to Maria at the engineering station. I need maximum power to forward shields. The Nemesis moved with surprising agility for its size, dancing between enemy weapon barges. Unlike the Council ships the Crawl were accustomed to fighting, the human vessel didn't flee or maintain distance. It charged directly at the enemy. They're trying to contact us, Ben announced. Put them through. The bridge display flickered to show a Crawl, Commander. The alien had a reptilian face with scales that shifted color with his emotions, currently a deep red that humans had learned indicated anger or aggression. His uniform was black with silver markings of rank. Human vessel, the Crawl commander hissed, his voice translated by the ship's computer. This planet is claimed for the Crawl Empire. Your interference violates. This planet belongs to the Vex, Tom interrupted, standing from his chair. And it's under Earth protection now. The Crawl's scales rippled with color. You have no authority here. The Council has already designated this system for resource development. We're not here representing the Council, Tom said, his voice calm but firm. We're here representing Earth. And we have a simple message. Leave this planet or we'll remove you. The Crawl Commander scales shifted slightly to a pattern that suggested amusement. You are one ship, our fleet approaches. You have ours at most. Check your long-range sensors, Tom replied. You might find we're not as alone as you think. It was a bluff, but one based on careful calculation. The Nemesis had transmitted data about the Vex and their living metal back to Earth Command the moment they'd confirmed its existence. Standard protocol would dictate sending additional forces once the strategic value was assessed. The Crawl commander cut the transmission. Their ships are pulling back to defensive positions. Marcus reported, they're not retreating, but they've stopped the bombardment. They're waiting for reinforcements, Jack said from beside Tom. Tom nodded. So are we. The question is whose will arrive first. Maria's voice came over the comm from engineering. Captain, I've been working with the data from the Vex technology. If we integrate some of their mineral compounds into our missile guidance systems, we could increase penetration by 300%. How quickly can you make the modifications? 6 hours for a full weapons refit. We'll need more of the living metal from the Vex. Tom thought for a moment. Contact Commander Rock. Tell him what we need. While the Nemesis maintained orbit, watching the Crawl ships and scanning for approaching vessels, work began below. The Vex, seeing an opportunity to strike back at their attackers, quickly gathered the materials Maria had requested. Small Vex craft designed to operate in the harsh atmosphere of their world launched from hidden bases on the surface. They carried containers of the processed living metal to the human ship. In the Nemesis's engineering bay, Maria directed the operation to integrate the alien material into their weapon systems. The living metal seemed to respond to their work almost as if it understood its purpose. It's remarkable, Maria told Tom during a progress update. The material doesn't just conduct energy, it amplifies it, and it seems to adapt to whatever we connect it to. Will it work? Tom asked simply. Maria nodded. Better than we expected. The Vex engineers have been incredibly helpful. They understand things about this material that would have taken us years to discover. On the bridge, Jack monitored the long-range sensors. Still no sign of Earth reinforcements or the Crawl fleet. Keep scanning, Tom ordered. If the Crawl are bringing a fleet, I want to know exactly when they'll arrive. Hours passed as the work continued. The Nemesis and the 2 remaining Crawl destroyers maintained their positions, watching each other across the void of space. It was a standoff with neither side willing to initiate another attack. Until reinforcements arrived. In the underground command center on Vex as Commander Rock watched the situation unfold with his advisors. The humans fight for us, one Vex said, disbelief in his voice. Why? What do they gain? They understand, Rock replied. They come from a world like ours. They know what it means to survive. When everything tries to kill you. He touched a control panel bringing up images of Earth, its storms, volcanoes, And dangerous environments. The Council fears worlds like ours. The humans. Embrace them. Another Vex, this one with markings identifying her as a scientist, spoke up. Their modifications to the living metal are ingenious. They found applications we never considered because they see it differently. Rock said, to us it is part of our world, part of ourselves. To them, it is new and full of possibilities. The scientist hesitated, then asked, should we share all our knowledge with them? The deep secrets of the living metal? Rock considered this. The living metal was the heart of Vex civilization. Their greatest resource and most carefully guarded secret. The Council researchers had only been shown the surface, the basic properties. Yes, he decided finally. If they help us survive the crawl, they have earned our trust. Back on the Nemesis, the weapons modifications were nearly complete when Marcus called out from tactical. Captain, long-range sensors have detected incoming ships. Tom moved quickly to the sensor display. Ours or theirs? Unknown, Marcus replied. They're still too far out for identification. Based on their approach vector, they're coming from crawl space. Tom's face hardened. How long until they arrive? 18 hours at their current speed. Tom turned to communications. Ben, any word from Earth Command? Ben shook his head. Our last transmission was acknowledged, but no confirmation of reinforcements. Maria. Tom called through the ship's comm system. Status of weapons refit complete. In 30 minutes. Captain, came the reply. The Vex have provided more material than we requested. They've also shared new data on how the living metal interacts with energy weapons. Good. I need you on the bridge as soon as you're done. Tom studied the tactical display, considering their options. If a crawl fleet was arriving in 18 hours, they would be severely outnumbered. The modified weapons might give them an edge, but one ship against a fleet were still terrible odds. Jack, he said to his second in command. Contact Rock. I want to know if the Vex have any orbital defense platforms or weapons we can use. To Tom's surprise, the answer came back. Positive. The Vex had been developing orbital defenses hidden from the crawl blockade. They weren't complete, but with human help, they might be operational in time. For the next several hours, the Nemesis coordinated with Vex engineers. Small teams from the human ship traveled to the hidden Vex platforms, helping to install weapons using the same modifications Maria had developed for their missiles. You know, platforms are online, Jack reported finally. They've established a targeting link with our systems. Good, Tom said. We'll coordinate the attack. Have Rock's forces stand by. As the crawl reinforcements approached, Maria entered the bridge. Her expression a mix of exhaustion and excitement. Captain, she said, the weapons refit is complete, and there's something else you should see. She handed Tom a tablet showing data from the engineering bay. The living metal they had integrated into their systems was growing, spreading through the weapons like a benign infection. But instead of damaging the systems, it was enhancing them. It's adapting to our technology, Maria explained. The Vex call it bonding. It's becoming part of the ship. Tom looked at the data with a mixture of wonder and concern. Is it safe? The Vex have been using it for thousands of years, Maria said. They say once it bonds, it protects what it's part of. As if in response to her words. The ship's lights flickered briefly, and the hum of the engines changed subtly in pitch. On all the bridge displays, power Reading spiked and then stabilized at levels higher than their normal maximum. What just happened? Tom asked. Maria checked her engineering station, eyes widening. The living metal has integrated with our power systems. Captain, we're operating at 120% normal capacity and holding steady for the first time since their arrival at Vexus. Tom allowed himself a small smile. It seems our ship has decided whose side it's on. The Nemesis, already one of Earth's most advanced warships, was transforming into something new. A hybrid of human and Vex technology. Enhanced by a material that seemed to have a will of its own. As the Crawl fleet approached, it would face not just a human warship, but a vessel becoming as unique as the alliance it represented. 18 hours after the initial confrontation, the Nemesis's long-range sensors detected the approaching Crawl battle group. It consisted of one dreadnought, a massive warship 3 times the size of the Nemesis, and 6 escort vessels. Time to arrival? Tom asked, standing on the bridge with his hands clasped behind his back. 3 hours at their present speed, Marcus replied from the tactical station. The bridge was silent as everyone understood what these numbers meant. The Nemesis, though formidable, couldn't stand against a full battle group alone. Any word from Earth Command? Tom asked. Ben shook his head. At the communications console. Our last transmission was acknowledged, but still no confirmation of reinforcements. Tom studied the tactical display. The 2 remaining Crawl destroyers from the original blockade had moved to join with the approaching fleet. Soon they would face 8 enemy ships, including a dreadnought. Status of weapons refit? Tom asked. Complete? Maria reported from engineering. The Vex minerals have been incorporated into our missile guidance systems. Simulations show 340% increased penetration against Crawl shields and the other modifications. The VX engineers finished an hour ago. The living metal has spread through several key systems. Engine output is stable at 125% normal capacity. Shield strength has increased by 30%. Tom nodded. It's all untested technology, but it's the best chance we have. On the surface, the Vex had been busy as well. Under Rock's direction, they had repurposed their planetary defense systems, creating a network of ground-to-orbit weapons using the same principles Maria had applied to the Nemesis's systems. The Vex defenses are online, Jack reported. They've established a targeting link with our systems. Good, Tom said. We'll coordinate the attack. Have Rock's forces stand by. As the minutes ticked by, the crew of the Nemesis prepared for battle. Tom knew they were outnumbered and outgunned. Their only advantage was the untested living metal technology and the element of surprise. 2 hours before the Crawl battle group was due to arrive, a new signal appeared on the long-range sensors. Captain Ben called out. Excitement evident in his voice. I'm receiving a transmission on Earth Fleet frequencies. The message was brief but clear. UE's Nemesis, this is Battle Group Sierra. Hold position. Reinforcements inbound. ETA 90 minutes. Relief washed through. The bridge quickly replaced by renewed determination. They weren't alone after all. Earth had responded to their call. They won't arrive before the Crawl, Jack pointed out, looking at the tactical display. Then we need to slow the Crawl down, Tom replied. He opened a channel to the surface. Commander Rock, are your orbital platforms ready? Ready, Captain White. Rock's voice came back. Awaiting your signal. Tom turned to his tactical officer. Set course to intercept the Crawl battle group at maximum range. We're going to give them something to think about until our friends arrive. The Nemesis accelerated toward the approaching enemy. A single ship charging toward 8. On the tactical display, a countdown timer showed 87 minutes until Earth reinforcements would arrive. We just need to hold them off for less than an hour and a half, Tom told his crew. Earth reinforcements will arrive and then the Crawl will be the ones outnumbered. As the Nemesis approached the Crawl battle group, the enemy ships began to spread out into an attack formation. The Dreadnought remained in the center, protected by its escorts. They're scanning us, Ben reported. They've detected our power increase. Good, Tom said. Let them wonder what they're facing. The Crawl commander opened communications again. On the view screen, his scales had darkened to a deep purple, a color humans had learned indicated confidence or aggression. Human vessel, he said, you have been warned. Your destruction is now inevitable. Surrender and your crew may be spared. Tom didn't respond to the taunt. Instead, he gave the order. All batteries fire. Vex orbital platforms. Commence attack. From the planet below, dozens of energy beams lanced upward, perfectly coordinated with the Nemesis's attack. The Vex weapons, designed to penetrate the unique shielding of Crawl vessels, struck with devastating accuracy. 2 of the Crawl escorts took direct hits, their shields flickering and failing under the combined assault. The Dreadnought remained undamaged, but the Crawl formation broke as the ships moved to evade the unexpected planetary attack. They didn't know about the orbital platforms, Jack said, watching the enemy ships scatter. The Vex have been busy, Tom replied. Evasive pattern Omega. Keep moving. Don't give them a stationary target. The Crawl escorts broke formation, some turning to engage the Nemesis, while others attempted to target the planetary defense platforms. The Dreadnought pressed forward, focusing its massive firepower on the human ship. Evasive maneuvers. Tom ordered as the ship shuddered under enemy fire. Maintain distance from the Dreadnought. Target the escorts first. For the next hour, the Nemesis executed a dangerous dance, drawing Crawl fire while coordinating with the Vex ground batteries. 2 Crawl escorts were disabled, a third heavily damaged, but the human ship had taken hits as well. Shield generators at 30%, Maria reported through the comm system. Hull breaches on decks 3 and 4, automated systems containing the damage. The tactical display now showed 23 minutes until Earth reinforcements would arrive. The Crawl, Dreadnought, recognizing the threat, was pressing its attack, trying to finish the Nemesis before help could arrive. The Dreadnought is launching boarding craft, Marcus warned. They're targeting our damaged sections. Tom made a quick decision. Set collision course with the Dreadnought. Sir, Jack questioned, shock evident in his voice. Not to ram them, Tom explained. Close enough for point-blank missile deployment. Maria's modifications will work best at minimal range. The Nemesis dove toward the massive Crawl vessel, absorbing punishing fire as it closed the distance. The Dreadnought, surprised by this seemingly suicidal maneuver, adjusted its weapons too slowly to stop the human ship's approach. All power to forward shields, Tom ordered. Prepare missiles for manual detonation on my mark. At point-blank range, with the Dreadnought filling the view screen, Tom gave the command. Fire all missiles. Detonate on contact with their shields. The Nemesis released its entire complement of modified missiles, then veered away sharply. The weapons, now infused with the Vex living metal, phased partially through the crawl shields before detonating. The explosions rippled across the dreadnought's hull, penetrating deeper than should have been possible. Secondary explosions followed as critical systems failed throughout the massive vessel. The dreadnoughts' weapons are offline, Marcus reported, unable to keep the surprise from his voice. They're venting atmosphere from multiple decks. An hour. Reinforcements? Tom asked. 17 minutes out. Tom opened a channel to the damaged Crawl flagship. Crawl command. Your vessels are disabled or destroyed. Earth forces will arrive in minutes. Your options are surrender or destruction. For long moments, there was no response. Then the Crawl commander appeared on screen again. His bridge was dark. Emergency lighting casting harsh shadows across his face. His scales had faded to a pale gray, a sign of shock or defeat. This is not over, human, he said. Simply, the Empire will return. When they do, Tom replied. They'll find Earth and the Vex waiting for them. The surviving Crawl vessels began powering up their FTL drives, preparing to retreat. Even the damaged dreadnought, operating on emergency power, managed to activate its engines. 73 minutes later, the United Earth Fleet Battle Group Sierra arrived in the system. 5 heavy cruisers and their escorts, a force that could have easily destroyed the Crawl battle group. Admiral Williams, commanding from the flagship, contacted the Nemesis. Captain White, report status. Tom, standing on his damaged bridge, smiled slightly. Mission accomplished, Admiral. The Vex home world is secure, and we've established first contact with a promising new ally. The Crawl retreated. But they'll be back. They know the value of what's here now. The Admiral nodded. As do we. Earth Command has designated this system a strategic priority. You're to begin immediate diplomatic negotiations with the Vex leadership. Later, standing in the Vex Command center alongside Rock, Tom watched as human and Vex engineers worked together, examining technologies, sharing ideas, finding common ground. Your council said they would send aid, Rock observed. Instead, you sent a warship. We sent what you needed, Tom replied. On Death Worlds, you learn quickly that survival comes before comfort. Rock made a sound that might have been laughter. The Crawl think us weak because our world is harsh. They do not understand that harsh worlds breed strength. The Crawl will learn, Tom said, watching as the first formal alliance between 2 Death World species took shape around them. And so will the rest of the galaxy. On the view screens above, Earth ships moved into defensive positions around the Vex home world. Not as conquerors or exploiters, but as allies who understood what it meant to evolve on a world that tried to kill you every day, and who recognized the strength such worlds created. The humans had reached the Deathworlders. They hadn't sent aid. They had sent something far more valuable, respect. And in the harsh emptiness of space, 2 species born from fire had found in each other something the rest of the galaxy lacked. Understanding. The Galactic Council saw the toxic atmosphere and deadly radiation of Vexus and Pydits inhabitants. Earth had seen a mirror of itself and extended not a hand of charity, but a hand of partnership. As Tom looked out at the gathering of humans, and Vex working side by side, he knew they had started something important. Soon the living metal would change both their civilizations, making them stronger together than either could be alone. Captain White, Rock said, interrupting his thoughts. Our scientists have examined your ship. The living metal has bonded completely with your systems. Is that a problem? Tom asked. No, Rock replied. It is an honor. The metal chooses what it bonds with. It chose your ship, your crew. It recognizes kindred spirits. Outside the viewports, the harsh surface of Vexus stretched beneath toxic clouds. Beautiful in its deadly way. Above, the Nemesis orbited, its hull now bearing a faint blue-green glow that matched the living metal in the caverns below. Two death worlds had met, and the galaxy would never be the same.